What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today is Tuesday. I'm recording this early Tuesday morning, and we're going to have a look at what the transfer rumors are. I'm going to spoil the party a little bit by saying there's nothing really going on right now. Tuesday morning, 6 more days for the window shuts, and there's not much that's actually being rumored or anything even close to being confirmed. So that sucks, but we're going to take a look at what's currently on and in the rumor sphere. So let's just get right into it and see what we got today. So the biggest thing I want to start out with today, and now all of these, like I just said, are kind of far-fetched. I don't think any of these are actually going to happen, but the ones that make me most interested, we're going to start there. So this is the latest rumor from the Daily Mail. Tottenham and Aston Villa will continue to monitor developments with Lucas Paqueta this week ahead of a potential move before the transfer deadline. We also see Daily Mail reporting that yesterday, and then this morning the reports are continuing, I guess. What I want to say about this one is I think that this would be a fantastic signing for Tottenham. I think that he is a pretty similar profile in the way that he plays to Morgan Gibbs-White and being that kind of an 8-10 hybrid. And so that would kind of be perfect for Thomas Frank and what he wants out of that position. But there's a couple reasons why I just don't think this is going to happen. So apparently he is open to the move to a Champions League club, so that is in our favor, obviously. But being West Ham, I don't think the price is the issue. On this one, I think the price is actually something that's doable. I think he only has 24 months left on his contract, and his current market value is somewhere around 30 million. So I think that we could probably get him for 40 to 50 million, which I think would still be a fair deal for him because I believe he's 27. So I would be totally willing to pay that. What I think is not going to happen, why I think this is not going to happen, is because the West Ham links, I just don't see any way where we take 2 out of their 3 best players in the same window, like full stop. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. And then you add on top of that the fact that they are pretty close to fighting relegation this season. I think that they will be. They don't have a ton of players on the roster that you would look at and be very confident in to lead them through that relegation challenge and lead them out of it, other than the likes of like Paqueta, Jared Bowen, obviously. And so it's like, do you really see them selling one of their 2 best players to any club, let alone Tottenham? I just don't see that happening. So I don't think that's something that's going to happen in this window. Now, if he really, pushes for a move, tries to force his way out, which it doesn't seem like he's going to do. It seems like he likes being at West Ham, but he would, obviously like to play Champions League football. We get that. So maybe this is something to keep in mind for January if, by the looks of it, we just don't do any business with that 10 position. At that point, Decky will probably be back and Matters still won't be, so we could still use the depth there for sure. So that's something to keep an eye on and something that might happen a little bit later in the window. Now let's move on to the next one. Spurs are long-term admirers of Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers, along with most Premier League clubs, but suggestions of a successful move being launched have been played down. Rogers has a long contract until 23 from Ali Gold. I think that is pretty much exactly what I want to talk about with this move, is that this move and a few others. So it's like we have this one, the Nico Paz deal, which I think we have an update on here. Like those are 2 players specifically. There's another one that I have in mind that I can't think of right now, but they're all in the same boat of players that have a super high value and don't want to leave or wouldn't leave to our club specifically, like just hands down, flat out, it's almost a non-starter. So why are we spending weeks apparently negotiating with these clubs to get players out? Like let's take Morgan Rogers, for example. Aston Villa is arguably one of their 3 best players. He's homegrown. No, is he homegrown? I know he came from Middlesbrough. I don't know if the age thing, if he's homegrown or not. Maybe not. But he's like their best young talent for sure. And they want somewhere around 80 to 90 million for him right now, and potentially like he could be £100 million pound player at the end of the season for sure. So it's like, why are we spending our time on that player? And then the Nico Paz situation, it's like Reportedly, Real Madrid has a $10 million buyback clause, which like obviously is just way too low compared to what his value is now. That was obviously set before he went off to Como last season, had a great season, and his value has exploded. And so there's apparently negotiations between Real Madrid and Como of, okay, well, we'll make it right. We'll give you a fee on top of that or whatever, somewhere in that $40 million range is what I've heard. And he really wants to go back to Real Madrid. He's a Castilla guy. He's played there his whole career, basically, growing up. He went away to Como. He likes Como. Apparently, he wants to be there this season. So it's like, again, why are we spending our time on that player? It just doesn't make sense. But anyways, so let's go back to our reports here. So another one here, Savinho. That's the one I was thinking of. Savinho, here's the latest. Hopes of signing rest on Manchester City being able to sign Rodrigo. For that to have a chance to materialize, the Brazilian would have to tell Real Madrid that he wants to leave, which to date has not happened, meaning that Savinho is currently on course to stay in Manchester. I think that's the most likely outcome. I think he will stay in Manchester, at least for this season. And so again, the talks of having to spend 70 million plus on this player, why are we spending all of our time on this? Like, it doesn't make sense. All of our recruiting, or probably lack thereof, it seems like it's just really haphazardly and being rushed, like hurried at the last moment because the club know that they're in a bind and they need to get somebody in the door before the end of the window, but they have put all their chips in. I almost combined two metaphors there, two analogies. Put all their chips in the wrong basket, put all their eggs in the wrong baskets, and once those deals didn't materialize, they kind of seem like they're just scrambling to get something done. So again, the Nico Paz situation are understood to be preparing a last-ditch attempt. This is like the third day in a row that there's been a last-ditch attempt, so I don't believe that. Any deal for Paz looks increasingly complicated to complete at this stage. We kind of just went over exactly why that is, between the links with Real Madrid and him having a great season last season at Como, wanting to stay at Como, and also like kicking off the campaign with a wonderful free kick and a great performance in their first Serie A match. So like he looks like, so the thing about the players that they're going after isn't the players themselves. I think all of the players that they're going after or rumored to be are all perfect players and wonderful players, and I would love to have them. Perfect for the system, I should say. But none of them seem to be realistic. So that's the problem, is that you have a window. It's not like you can continue these negotiations and just keep talking and playing it up and stuff like that. And, eventually it happens or something like that. It's like you have a window, you have an amount of time for things to get done. So that urgency needs to be there. That's something we've talked about a million times, is like the urgency with this board is absolutely not there. It's almost like they just don't even consider that when scouting players. It's like they don't have these things prepared ahead of time. They're kind of just going about it day by day, which is crazy. So Paz doesn't look like it's going to happen. Hincapié. Tottenham did bid for Hincapié, 100% true. That's from Paul O'Keefe, because I know there's been speculation. He's been in and out of the comments and threads for the last couple of days, going back and forth with Tottenham fans who think that this bid was never even real, because of the recent reporting that from David Ornstein saying that Arsenal is very much interested in Hincapié and he would prefer a move to Arsenal over other clubs, and he wants the club to take somewhere between. He wants the club to be open to somewhere between 45 and 50 million euros, which is less than his 60 million euro release clause. This is one I'm really upset by, because I really did think that Hincapié would be perfect for what we need and what Thomas Frank wants to do with that, rotating between kind of a back three and a back two in between games and different formations in different games. And he can play at left back, he can play at center back. We touched on this in a previous video, just how good he is on the ball and with the ball. He would be just a fantastic player in the system. So that's a real bummer that it seems like he prefers a move to Arsenal. We've heard that story before. So this one seems like it's just not going to happen at all, which is a bummer. Okay, so before we get on to that, or actually last one. So this is kind of the latest after we've apparently struck out on all of our bids in the last 2 weeks. This is what we're looking at now. Ademola Lookman is an attacking player that Spurs and various other sides have been offered at this time, as Atalanta appears to be coming to a close. And then Monaco's Magnus Akliush is someone who Tottenham have been tracking in recent seasons, and the exciting 23-year-old who can play out wide or centrally is on the radar of plenty clubs across Europe. That's from Ali Gold. So the Akliush one, I'm not quite sure, so I didn't put this up in the thread or in the tabs today what his exact situation is, because there's rumors that Tottenham wanted to strike a deal around £47 million, but his agent is asking for something astronomical, like £15 million that's being reported on top of that for agent fees. And apparently that's why it's just not going to happen. So, but I haven't heard that from anybody, or I haven't seen that from anybody super reliable. So that's just, I don't know how much we can trust that reporting, but it does seem like obviously the Akliush thing is not going to happen. On top of that, I wasn't able to find anything as recent as today, but it seems like the El Canus thing just really isn't happening, or it's being done completely under the radar, but there's not much being talked about that deal at this point. So that's kind of a bummer. The Ademola Lookman one is really interesting to me because, so obviously he had his time in the Premier League a few seasons ago with Fulham and didn't do so well. Like really did not do well at all. His career looked to be kind of on the downturn. And then he went to Atalanta and then obviously had a fantastic season 2 seasons ago. Excuse me, he won the Europa League and was pretty high up in all of the awards for that season, the Ballon d'Or, the FIFA Player of the Year. He was in the top 10, I believe, of all of those. So, fantastic season. His time at Atalanta has been fantastic for him and his growth and kind of establishing himself as a top player. But the thing with Ademola Lookman, as far as I know, and this is something we can look into more if he becomes more of a actual rumored player, actually more of a target instead of just a rumored player. His positioning, he seems to play a lot in a 2-striker formation or as a second striker. He doesn't really seem to play out wide on the wings, which is what we need primarily. Now, I wonder if Thomas Frank sees anything in him, potentially dropping in and being that cam player, but I think that's probably too far of a drop for him because Thomas Frank likes his attacking midfielders to be dynamic and be defensive and all of that stuff. And I think that Ademola Lookman, from what I've seen of him and the stats I've seen and stuff like that, seems to be primarily an attacking player and doesn't do a ton of defensive work. Now, if I'm completely wrong about that, sorry, I just saw these reports a couple minutes ago. So that's something we can dive in more and figure out what's actually going on there. But first glance, I don't see that being something that we would actually move on. But as a player, I think Ademola Lookman is great. I would be happy to have him at the club. I just don't know if he's the right fit. So yeah, I just kind of don't think that one's going to happen either. So that's kind of everything. That's kind of a bummer. I know it's not a great day for rumors, and with only 6 more days left in the window, it doesn't feel super optimistic things are going to get done, but that's where we stand today. So the last thing I wanted to go over, a slightly happier note, if you want to call it that. Tottenham released their third kits, or will be releasing them. They've been leaked today. It seems like they're going to be releasing it today. And I agree with Ben Bowman. Very, very good kit. Very, very good kit, in my opinion. I mean, look how clean that is. I love the blue accents on the kit. I love the centered badge, although I do kind of wish that the badge... It just really bugs me when the badge and the tick mark, the Nike symbol, is like not aligned. So that's a little bit annoying, my OCD, but I do love the old school badge. I love the AIA and the Tottenham blue. That's all great. It's a really nice, clean color of yellow too. Like it's a yellow that you can wear on the pitch. I think they're going to look fantastic. As for like, if you were to get this and wear it out, I think it's a good shade of yellow. It's kind of more of that light yellow, which is really, really nice. Again, I love that light blue trim around the sleeves. I think it's just a fantastic kit. I think that we really hit it out of the park with this one. And between this and the away kit, which is also fantastic, which we debuted at City over the weekend, I think those are two amazing kits. Our home kit, I don't really love this season, I'll be honest. I think it's just not doing it for me. It's a little too simple. The gray down the side, I don't really care for all that much. I think we've had a few years of really good home kits, like last year's with the blue sleeves. Fantastic. And the one the year before, I liked quite a bit. So like, I think we've had a good run. Home kits are tricky for Tottenham because Tottenham likes to usually go a lot more minimal with them. So you're not going to see anything really out of the ordinary. Like, some teams really do like to kind of explore what they're doing with their home kits. But ours seem to be pretty simple. But anyways, so that's kind of the last of it today. Yeah, hopefully some stuff starts going in the works and we have some better news to update you on tomorrow. But as for today, that's it. Thanks guys for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.